So I already spoke a little bit about my friend Alan, who lived up the street and who was a great friend and really loved playing role-playing games. I want to tell you about another neighbor I had that I spent a lot of time with as a child as well. Her name was Allison, and I can remember three things about Allison's house. One was that they had a framed, signed drawing of Snoopy by Charles Schulz. Pretty cool. They also had a piano that would take the little scrolls that you could load into the piano itself, feed the end through, and the piano would play itself. The keys would depress. The piano was actually playing itself. It was magic. And third, Allison had a Sega Genesis. Oh yeah. I remember when Allison got her Sega Genesis, I came over and I was playing at her house, and she knew I was a video game fan, so she said to me, "Hey, I got this," and she showed me the Sega Genesis, and she said, "It's the best one." Allison was fueling the console wars between Nintendo and Sega, and I don't think she even knew she was doing it. It's pretty impressive. So of course, when she told me she had the Sega Genesis, I had to play the thing, so she did. She fired up the Sega Genesis. She had a Model 1, the original high-definition graphics Sega Genesis. It had the volume knob with the audio jack on the front for headphones that nobody used unless they were a crazy audiophile. And it had Sonic the Hedgehog with it. And my mind was like that meme of the dude's head just started exploding when I saw Sonic the Hedgehog, because Sega had hyped in marketing how great the Genesis was and how much better it was than Super Nintendo. And I was kind of feeling like I was being left behind in the video game world at the time because I didn't have a Sega Genesis, but now Allison did. So I spent time playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I really loved the game, enjoyed every bit of it, and finally it came to the point where I was begging the garbage out of my parents to get a Sega Genesis. Now there must be some overlap in time of when she might have gotten like the last of the Model 1 Sega Genesis, because soon thereafter I received my Sega Genesis 2, but it was the Model 2 Sega Genesis that came with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was another fantastic game, dare I say better than the first. So I had my own Sega Genesis and had a chance to play that for a little while, and it was a blast. But one of the best memories I have from Sega Genesis had to do with Allison's dad. Allison's dad's name was Jack, and Jack was a cool dude. He built hot rods in his garage. Very cool. I didn't dare get close to him because I didn't want to mess anything up, but the photos and the plaques on the wall from the shows he had been to with his cars, and being able to see his car in the garage that he was currently working on, was really cool. I mean, he was an impressively talented guy when it came to cars. What really surprised me, though, and mind you, Jack didn't talk a lot. He didn't talk to me a lot. He wasn't rude. He just didn't talk a lot because he was busy doing other things. But I was kind of blown away to find out that Jack actually played Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And by 2, I mean T-O-O, or also. That kind of blew my mind as much as seeing Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time, because Jack did not strike me as the type of guy that would be a video gaming type. And apparently to that point, he wasn't. So somebody in Allison's family, it may have even been Allison, but I don't know, they suggested letting me play Sonic the Hedgehog with Jack to show him some tricks, because apparently he was having some trouble getting through some of the early stages in the game. So I did. I played probably the first, I think, Green Hill Zone, all the way through to the first Dr. Robotnik fight, and he seemed to be pretty impressed with my skills, if I do say so myself. So when he wanted to play this to see if he could get as far as I did, I handed him the controller, and I noticed something unique about the way Jack was playing Sonic the Hedgehog. He had the standard Sega Genesis controller, as we all did at the time. Regular old D-pad, 3 buttons and a start button, right? I've always played video games the way most of us have, which is thumbs, right? Thumbs. So I have my controller and I'm playing the D-pad with my thumb, and I've got my buttons over here and I'm accessing them all with my thumb. Jack was laying the controller in his lap, kind of like what you'd see a modern day Street Fighter champion playing on a arcade stick type setup or a gamepad. He had it in his lap and was playing with his 3 fingers across the 3 buttons, and then his other fingers were accessing the directional pad over here. And he was having some trouble reacting with both hands. So when he watched me play, he asked what I was doing, and I just showed him that I was using my thumbs. And I think I made a professional Sonic the Hedgehog player out of Jack that day. Hey, if I'm good for something, I might as well be good for something, right? And it's showing people how to play video games. I'm spreading the love, spreading the cheer of Sonic the Hedgehog everywhere I go. It's funny because that story sounds pretty insignificant, but I remember it to this day, so it must be worth something. Do you have any strange stories about video gamers coming out of the woodwork that you never would have imagined had you not sat down and played near them or with them? If you do, leave them in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to Go Nerd Yourself. And until next time, do just that. Go nerd yourself.
Nerd!